and welcome back to another Andertons Music Tech video. I'm here today with Colin from Bose. Nice to meet you. It's his debut on the channel, so it's a very special day. And we're going to be talking through some mixers today. These are the tone matches.
Yep.
Do you want to explain kind of what they're called and a rough demo, if you like?
Absolutely. These are the new ToneMatch range of mixers. Some of the Bose users out there will recognise the similarity between this and the old T1 that we did. The T1 was initially designed as a mono mixer to complement our Model 2 systems and the L1 Compact, as you've probably used in the past. But then people asked for more channels. They wanted a stereo mixer they could use with any system.
Yeah.
So we've upgraded them, and now we've got a 4-channel and an 8-channel to choose from.
Fab.
The main differences on here is we've given on the 4-channel, we've given 4 full XLR inputs. Then you've got your main outs. You've got 2 auxiliary outs, which you can use for monitor mixers. And then you've also got a stereo in, so up to 6 channels altogether.
Fab.
USB in and out, so you can record from this as well as stream music from a laptop. And then with the T4, you can still power it from the Model 2.
Yeah.
And you can actually link 2 digitally, so you don't have to link them in analog, which is a pretty cool little
And you were
thing.
saying these link well, don't you, to the L1 systems?
Yes.
And things like that?
Yep,
so.
they still link to the L1 system. On this one, you can link via the digital. On the T8, it would have to be analog because of the way the mix is set up, and the way it's powered is slightly differently as well. We've also added a separate headphone out, so if you are recording with it, you've got some monitoring there as well, and with a separate control for that.
Fab. Now, it obviously looks quite different to what we're all probably used to in terms of a mixing desk with kind of that kind of motion, if you get what I mean. So when I first was looking at this, I was a bit like, oh, this looks really unfamiliar. But actually, you've already given me a little demo, haven't you? We've already kind of looked through this a little bit. So if you want to just explain, everything kind of revolves around this wheel here, doesn't it? So just explain how we'd get every kind of person sorted if you were playing in like a band situation.
Well, everything's rotary, as you can see. There's no sliding faders as you would get on conventional mixers. The reason was that is just to keep it more compact, because if you have a sliding control, you have to incorporate that into the size of the mixer. So it keeps it a lot more compact using the rotary ones. So say you're setting up your band, first thing you'd want to set up is probably your vocals. Yeah. So looking at this guy here, this is what takes you to all your menus within the system in the ToneMatch. So first of all, we've got the ToneMatch setting, which is where you'd start with any of the setup, any of the channels. So you'd hit the channel edit. Yeah. Now, for example, as we've set up earlier, we've got an SM58 here. So what you do is you go down to vocal mics. That will give you a handheld mic section. Yeah. And then you can go down, and there's a load of mics on here. Obviously, we can't do all the mics in here for all the EQ settings. So there is some general ones for general condenser mics, high gain mics, lapel mics, that kind of thing. So for example, we're going to go SM58. And what that does then is that kicks in an EQ curve for that particular instrument. So you don't have to go in and be EQing and be an engineer to figure that out. You can just select it, it's
nice
there,
and easy.
Gives you that sparkle on the microphone, and there you go, your setting's already in. If you want to mess about a little bit more with that, we've got ZEQ, or as the Americans say, Easy EQ. That's specific to whichever instrument you've chosen. Right. So whether it's an accordion or a violin or whatever, these 3 bands will be separate for those different instruments. So just to make it easier, so for the show SM58, if you want extra bottom end, a bit more low, it's the right kind of low, it's not too boomy. And the same with the high, it's not going to give you loads of sibilance, but it will give you that extra bit of sparkle that you need. Cool. Then what we've added as well, we used to have these on the T1 as well. But what we've done on this one, we've given you 3 parametrics per channel. Right. Now, for the guys that are into that kind of thing, a lot of people probably won't even touch them because they go parametrics. I
didn't have a clue.
Yeah, they get worried. They're quite easy. It's a good way of getting rid of feedback or problems depending on your room. Sure. As I said earlier to yourself as we were talking, go on to parametric EQ. And for example, if you're getting the high-end feedback, it's always around about 2000 hertz, 2K. So you can select that, and then you can cut that slightly, and then it's just a quick fix to get rid of that horrible squeal. If your room's a bit warm and a bit close, that's usually what causes it. Obviously, if it's a cold room, you don't get that problem. Usually what happens is you set up in a venue, everything's fine, people come in, it gets warm, and then you start feeding back, you're like, what's going on? So you've got an easy fix with that.
Although I didn't really understand kind of what that was and the relevance of it, I really think now that if I was going to get this, that is definitely something I would kind of try and have a play with.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, the amount of times I've been on stage and I've been like, I don't understand why my mic's feeding back. Like, I'm not near a speaker. I'm not in front of a speaker. Like, I can't understand why this is happening. But the thing is, if this is that easy to do, then I'm like, well...
Yeah, it can just be the environment, changing the environment or the environment itself. All rooms are different. If you've got a lovely dead room like this, it's fantastic because you get less problems. But when you're playing live, as you know, that doesn't happen. You could be anywhere, or you know, inside, outside, depending on the time of year, hot, cold, and it does make a difference to what does affect the sound.
For sure, yeah.
So once you set up all that, we've got another section on here. These are, we've got compressors, gates, limiters, noise gates, kick gates for kick drum, because obviously now you've got 8 channels. We can afford to mic up a kit with a kick drum and an overhead.
Yeah.
And again, these are all controllable as you would do on a normal, either a rack effects or a pedal. So they're pretty intuitive how they work. Next section, modulations. These are more for guitars, guitar effects, that kind of thing. You've got chorus on there, you've got flanges, you've got phases, and you've got tremolo. So,
I mean, are these, I'm assuming these are quite like a generic chorus. Like, obviously, you can would you use that in conjunction with a guitar pedal, or would you?
A lot of
is this
guitarists,
if you're going to be like?
Well, a lot of guitarists, if it's electric guitar, a lot of guitarists prefer their own effects.
Yeah.
This is more towards the acoustic end of the guys because they like effects, but they don't tend to buy as many as your electric guitar players.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're in like an open mic.
Yeah,
this sort of thing, it's a generic chorus sound. Yeah, it's going to just give you a little bit more of a flavour.
But they're fully programmable as well. So as you can see, we got, again, once you've selected what you want, you can program how much, how little, and there's different types. So you've got a bright one, a warm one, a dark one. So a few options in there as well. Next section we've got on there is delays, which says 3 types: digital, analog, or tape, which is the old Watkins copycat. Other tape delays are available, and there you go. You just select it. And then you can mix the time, the feedback, and the mix on the actual effect itself.
Cool. Most important one.
Most important one for all the singers.
Reverb.
All the way around to delay.
Yeah.
All these settings are individual per channel. So you can set them, you can set anything you want, all completely different on each channel. So you've got individual settings there. The only one effect that is global, which you can have one kind of effect across, is reverb, because reverb is the room size.
Yeah.
So you don't want different room size reverbs
for each,
because they'll compete and it'll sound awful.
Yeah.
So you can only have one type of reverb across the board. However, you do have the option to have it on, off, or how much you mix in on each channel. So if you want that little bit more on the vocals, that's fine. If you don't want it on the kick drum, just switch it off.
Cool. And with all of this, again, it was another question I asked kind of as we were kind of getting this video ready, was I was saying if, you know, obviously if you perform in a band every week and that sort of thing, can we save these presets? So if you know, okay, vocals is always going to go in 1, we're going to have guitar in 2, and it's the same people playing every week and the same sort of setup, blah, blah, blah. And you said we can, it's quite easy to...
Yeah.
Quite easy to save those. And
yeah, once you've done all this, so for example, you've done your vocals, you've done it all, you've done a gig with it, and you're like, love those settings, want to keep those, you go to the scenes, and on this section, you have up to 16 different settings on there. So you just choose it. Are you sure you want to save it, select, and then you can rename it anything you want. So if it's the Black Bull on a Monday, or the whatever venue it is, you can name it after the venue, or you can name it after yourself, whatever. But then you can instantly recall that next time you go. So no matter the next gig you may do a few tweaks, and you may want to save it, or you may just have tweaked it for that room, so you can then just go back at least for the next gig, so you've got that starting point with all the effects. It's
going to save you time, isn't it?
All the effects, all the EQs already there, and it just recalls them all for you. The only thing you've got to remember is to plug the right instruments in the right right holes.
Yeah. This is when we end up having like stickers and like vocals, guitar, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You have to like try and remember what you're going, but cool.
So that's fine. The other things we've got as well, there's a general preferences screen. Now what this does, there's loads of different things in here. Most people probably never even look at this, but you've got a status screen.
Yeah.
So if you're having trouble and you're like, there's something weird going on, what is it? You can actually see what's on each channel. Obviously we've got nothing selected here. Actually, let me just go back and add some reverb, and then we can see, there we go. Now channel 1's got reverb on it. So you can actually see what's on each channel at a glance.
Yeah.
So maybe
quickly,
yeah. So if there is a problem, it's like, that's what's wrong. I haven't turned the chorus off. I've got chorus on channel.
Quickly, let's take it off.
Chorus on the bass guitar for some reason. How's that happened? So which does happen. Also, to give you a bit more of a meter of what's coming in, we have a green, amber, and red light up here, which, as you can see, that goes green.
Yeah.
Gives you an idea what's coming in. But also, as a more exact meter, we've actually put that on the preferences screen, so you can see each channel and you can see how much of your input gain.
Yeah.
Because with the gain staging, obviously, you don't want to overcook that. So that, like any mixer, you start with this. You make sure it's optimised, and then you do the rest from your channel volumes and your master.
So if I turn that up, that line I assume that line would move? Or is that not to do with that?
on number 1.
Oh, because we're on number 1.
Yeah.
Okay,
So yeah, obviously if we took that really far up, that would...
It's going to go right over,
Yeah, that's going to...
I see.
Yeah, that's going to be
just making sure we're on the right channel, isn't
it?
Yeah,
you need to be about a couple of dots below the end.
Yeah.
At the loudest point to optimise it and make sure you're not overdriving any of the mic preamps or anything like that. The next section we've got as well is we've got a pan and aux. Now what this is for, you could, like some people like to pan things left and right. Now we've got a stereo mixer, you can do that. And you can do that on each channel. Then also we've got the auxiliary sends, which we've got 4 of these. There's 2 on the T4, there's 4 on the T8. So if you're wanting in-ears, for your monitoring, your drummer wants a separate send to a monitor at the back. You've got your guitarist who's got in-ears, and then you've got a bassist who's almost deaf, so he just uses a fold-back, which is usually the case. Excuse to all bass.
Just keep playing.
But you've got 4 different mixes there, so 4 of you can have 4 different individual mixes on stage for whatever they want.
Cool.
So which is really cool.
Yeah,
that's controlled from these guys here. And then you mix in each channel what you want.
Cool.
And finally, it's got the input levels for 9 and 10, which is an extra stereo channel.
Right.
So say you've run out of inputs on the main 8, and you've got a keyboardist joining you, just go in 9 and 10, set those up, and he's straight in there.
Awesome.
Finally, what all musicians need is a tuner. So basically, we've built this in. And it's, as you can see, it's going there from the microphone. It's chromatic, so it just senses the note. And you can do it by reference, note, or pitch.
That's so clever.
So, yeah, if you want to transpose it, you can. If you're a detuning death metal band, you can do that as well. That
is wicked.
So that's really cool.
Cool. So they are our main features, if you like. Well, they are all our features, aren't they, really?
Yeah. In a nutshell, obviously, you have a bit of playing about sometimes, but to start with, it's quite easy to get a good sound.
Yeah.
Without too much hassle and too much headache.
I just want to ask you a question about the last button that probably hasn't been mentioned on here. Is this?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this is to do if we want to use this as an interface, or what's this?
Your phantom power. That's if you're using condenser mics.
Oh, okay.
So that's to send the 48 volts to the mic, because condenser mics are powered. So that's why they're all XLRs on the 8 channels now.
I see.
And the phantom power runs across all the 8. So say you've got...
I was assuming this was to do with recording. I was thinking, I know what I'm on about.
Good. There is a section on the preferences, which is basically USB to and from PC.
Right, okay.
Where you can set all that up if you're wanting to record. But the good thing is, if you've got a laptop with you, you can just record the gig. and it will record all the channels, but it just records them as 2 legs. It doesn't record them individually.
Stems.
No,
yeah.
it's just a left right send. But obviously you can do that. Maybe put together a small demo, go in the studio, do some overdubs, that kind of thing, which is always cool.
Awesome. Shall we give it a try?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Would you like this microphone?
Thank you very much. This is a lot more in my comfort zone now. I'm like, oh.
So what we'll do then is just first of all, we'll go back to the setup.
Yeah.
So let's just flatten everything off. So we're flat at the moment. So if you give us a level on that and what you're doing.
Da, 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 da.
Now that's with nothing on. So what we want is you've got an SM58. So very quickly we're going to find that again. So first of all, put it on.
Hello, hello.
And then if we turn it off,
Da, da.
you can hear the difference. So it adds that sparkle, it adds that EQ in there.
Yeah.
So
do that again. That change.
Yeah. So that's off.
Hello, testing. Yeah. Yeah, that is a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So all these all these are to optimise your instrument to begin with.
Yeah.
So you've got a great set in there to start with, and you don't have to mess about too much. Most people would just choose that and leave it. They wouldn't even bother with the
extra bits.
with the extra EQs because it's just like that's great, and it is a great EQ that's in there.
Yeah.
But there's loads of EQs for acoustic guitars, electric guitars, basses, keyboards, even DJ settings in there, even down to accordions and violins.
For all those accordion players out there, we know you're out there.
We think of everybody. So next, I suppose the next main thing for singers is going to be this guy, which is your reverb.
Yeah.
So let's see what we got there. So there we go. We should be on.
La 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 la, da 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 da, na 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 na. Na 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 na, la 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 la. That's a nice amount. No, because I tell you what I absolutely hate is when people go, I'll put a bit of reverb on, and you sound like you're down a well.
Yeah.
That's a nice amount. It's nice and warm. Yeah. And did you tweak with that, or was that kind of just as it was as the preset?
Tweaked a little bit. I've what I've done is I've put a bit more of the mix on, but I've taken a little bit of the balance off. It's just to warm it up.
Nice.
And give you that nice smoothness of it, rather than it being too harsh. Nice. So yeah, but I mean, the thing is with effects, they're very individual to whoever's using them. You will get people who want loads of it, and then like yourself, you just want that subtle bit just to give it that basically that air. Give you that space, that room feeling.
For sure.
So there you
Lovely.
go.
Fab. So you have definitely had a nice, thorough rundown of what these amazing mixers do. I'd recommend you come and, if you want to try them out, you can come to the Andertons store, come in one of our rooms, try them out. But even better, why don't you just buy one? Just buy one. No, it's been absolutely great having you here, Colin. Thank you so much for showing us through this. It's been really insightful. It's definitely something I'm going to look into myself. And yeah, please feel free to leave a comment. If you've tried this out, let us know what you think in the comments. Like it, share it. And yeah, we'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much. Bye.